Sheboygan Falls woman accused of killing her son and trying to kill her other son is back in court today. 42-year-old Natalia Hitchcock is accused of strangling her 8-year-old son and trying to drown her 11-year-old back in March of last year. The criminal complaint states Hitchcock told police someone was controlling her mind and she'd been poisoned. In court today, the prosecution asked for more time to go over tests and evaluations.
I don't know if defense has the actual report. I've shared with them verbally the content, and that physical report will be given to them so they have it hard.
Okay, so you're agreeing to provide it to
Judge, we did speak before the court hearing, and Attorney Ransky did relay most of the information. We certainly would like to see this case moving, but I certainly have no objection to the state's request.
Hitchcock pleaded not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect last November. She's expected back in court next month.